And good morning, this is Justin Severson here to introduce my friend Martha Fasthorse and the Martha Fasthorse Show. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, Justin. Good morning, Twin Cities.
Yes, good morning, everyone. We are listening to some Led Zeppelin this morning. Good times, bad times. We've all had our share, haven't we, Martha?
Oh, yeah, we do.
But you have a guest on the phone ready to go, and as he was telling us before we started, he's a big fan of the rock and roll from the 70s, so here you go.
Oh, yes, and I am, too, so thank you for that great song. Joining me on the phone from Garrison, Minnesota, is Rick Anderson. He's from the Mille band of Ojibwe. He is president and CEO of Eagle Clan Productions. Welcome to the show, Rick.
Hello, and welcome. Thank you for having me on the show. It's a privilege and honor to speak with you on this one of my favorite radio stations.
Oh, yes. Rick, I'd like to start out by letting you tell my audience about yourself. I generally read guest bios, but in your case, I decided that I wanted to forego this step and let you do this. So would you please do that? Take a few minutes, tell my audience about where you grew up, your family, and community.
Yes, I grew up in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's where I was born. And then my family, my mom and dad and brothers, we had moved to Rosemont over by Northfield, Minnesota. We had a large farm all the way till I was age 8, and it was a fun experience being on that big of a farm, living that type of life. Unfortunately, mom and dad divorced when I was 8, and we moved to the Minneapolis area. And I absolutely love Minneapolis. Back in the 60s, late 60s and early 70s, to me, it was the time of our life. It was a great experience living back then. And attended Corcoran Elementary, then went to Fowler Junior High, and then to South High School in Minneapolis. And basically grew up in those areas. What else would you like to hear about that part? A lot more? Because I got a lot to say.
Oh, yes, and I'm anxious to hear it all. But yeah, thank you, and let's get started. Why did you become a filmmaker? What about this craft attracted you?
Well, why I became a filmmaker is pretty much has been a dream of mine since I was younger. I most recently, as of the year 2001, started being a filmmaker, along at the same time a music instructor. And really at age 40 is kind of like where I thought I was hitting my midlife crisis. I said, what about the what ifs? What if I would have stayed with music as I did when I was younger? What if I would have still been involved with TV or appearing at Dayton's when I was age 10 and 11? And so when I turned 40, I thought I need to find out. And so I end up, luckily, while working for the Mille Ojibwe in the corporate office, I used to travel all over the United States representing our corporate, the corporate commission, seeking business opportunities for the Mille band. And while traveling, I met a very beautiful Native American lady who, her name is Dawn Jackson, and she was an executive for Disney, and Disney owns ABC Entertainment. I ended up being introduced to the new talent development department for ABC out of California, and started becoming a representative in Minnesota looking for aspiring writers. And so I helped work with 501(c) organizations here looking for writers. And sure enough, one of the persons that I helped write a good script won a $20,000 grant, and I won $10,000 for doing it. With that money, I took it and said, I'm going to pursue a dream that I've had thoughts of for a long time. I'm going to see if the what ifs, what goes with it. So I ended up starting a music program and a video program for our tribe for the youth, young adults, and whatever age. So I had like 36 students a week for about 2 years, and from every age. And we had the full drum set, which was mine, I bought. I needed to find out about the drums if I was going to be good again. And picking up those drums after many years, sure enough, you remember those beats. But we bought the guitars and the amps and the synthesizers, and then we started the karaoke class with videotaping them. And so for a few years, we would do that, and then luckily at the Grand Casino Hinckley Amphitheater, we were allowed to have what's called the Schnob Jam, where we would have local band members and friends and family have a big feast and a concert, and we would use our talented people from the class to get up on stage. And so I mixed, yeah, it was really fun. It was exciting. A lot of people loved it. We had free food, they're raffling off literally cars and prizes, and it was a big event. And we had a lot of talented people get up there that didn't think they would be able to do it, but we rehearsed them, we would film them, and we would guide them and put them up on stage for about 8 hours, many people. And it was fun. Even my own children took part in that, because when my children would come over, we would just every weekend just do music and record and rehearse, and it was a fun time. And so that ended up ending about 2 years later, but at the same time, I bought all the digital equipment for filmmaking, and I said, I'm going to study this, and I'm going to pursue it. And from that point on, since about 2002 up till right now, I've been studying film, every phases of it. Pretty much, obviously, the writing, that I know how to write scripts, to storyboarding, filming, directing, editing, post-production, compression, sound, color correction, you name it, I studied it, and I think perfected it. And it is super fun. It's got to be one of the most rewarding jobs I've ever did, is to be able to film something, make it colorful, put together a story, and see it up on the big screen of TV is just like a dream come true. So to me, one of the what ifs has been answered, and there's still another what if. What if I do a movie? So that's my goal someday, to take this crazy thinking, imaginative mind of mine and be able to do a movie. That is a goal, and I will pursue it. And that's really kind of how it got started. But the way it really got started, though, is with my mom. When I was 8 years old, my mom was phenomenal. She passed away, rest in peace, Mom. She would buy my first drum set when I was 8, my brother a guitar, Bobby, and then 2 years later she'd buy me an upgraded drum set. So she was very supportive and went above and beyond. And then she was sent us to this place called the Cultural Arts Center down in Minneapolis, which I got introduced to puppet making, like the Muppets you seen on TV. And so we would perform at Dayton's, and what was really funny is that when I was in 4th grade, we ended up going on the show, the Willie Clancy the Cop and Willie Ketchum show back in the 70s. And they introduced my brother and I, saying Rick and Robin Anderson will be performing at Dayton's. And then we go back to school, and the kids, our friends were going, look at them guys, we see them on TV. And it was exciting. You're just kids, and you're doing this stuff. And those memories never leave. And then Willie Ketchum called and said, can we do a film with Rick Anderson in 5th grade to show bike safety? And we show it to all the students. And, I'm going to go off track here a little bit. So I tried to contact Alan Dershowitz, that's his name, Willie Ketchum, and he says, he called me back. I didn't know if he was really going to do it. He called me back last year, and he goes, yes, I remember that film. And we tried to find it, but we couldn't. Somehow they got rid of archives. So those memories of what my mom did, even with sports or whatever, she went above and beyond introducing things to us of the arts. And that plays a big part in when I turned 40, to say the what ifs, what happens if I would have kept going. And I believe that because she did support us and put that in front of us, it played a big part in what I'm currently doing now. And so I, myself, with my children, I put the drums and guitars in front of them and say, if you play one, you put it down, pick up another one, just try it out, because it could play a part later on in years with their kids. And then so on and so on. So that's how I got started. When I turned 40, I decided to pick up a dream that was left off when I was a child and to try and answer the what ifs. And now I'm having the time of my life doing it.
Oh, yes, and it shows. So your mother inspired you and influenced your music?
Yes, she was very big in that part, being supportive in all of that.
What steps did you take to get where you are today?
You mean as far as the education part, or being persistent like I am to knock on doors saying, trust me?
Yeah, being persistent, because I admire that about you. You're very determined, and you just show up, and you have this great positive attitude about your work and about meeting people. It's contagious. You're exciting to be around.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. A lot of the professionalism that I think developed. Let me go back a step. A lot of the persistence it really goes back to memories of my mom. She having a farm and then helping us pursue things and her guiding us and watching her be a single mom raising 7 boys. She played the mom and dad role. I still admire her. Think back many times as she'd get up in the morning and just go to work, and it's like you admire that and you remember this when you're older. At the time, you didn't think as much of it. And so working for the tribe in the 1999 through 2009, I was given opportunities from our current chief, Melanie Benjamin, who was a big supporter, and I will thank her to this day that she put things in front of me and recognized that I have a different type of a drive to do things. And so given the opportunity to do 2 years worth of full music classes and just let me run it the way my mind does it became successful and fun. But another thing right now is because the opportunity of working with Twin Cities Public Television, Sherry Lamke and Tom Troll, they recognized, they pretty much called on me, and it's like the last 3 films I've done have went right to TV, and that alone, seeing that for me, is really huge. It's like it boosts your confidence, and it really makes you feel good that your work is being appreciated. So it's like, well, if I do this, I know I can do better each time. So it's just a drive to want to do better, knowing that you can. Anything is possible. I know that now, that if you really want it, you can do it. But as a film producer and director, you also have to show confidence in being able to work with people. And we know all people are different. You have to know how to guide them right and direct them to get the best out of their interview or whatever they're doing. With films, whenever I do a film, I try not to pick the cloudy days. I try not to pick mucky water. I try and use beautiful scenes that are well thought of, the background, the props, what they're wearing. When I interview people before they go on camera, I talk with them many times to find their strengths, and I said, yes, use that. If you smile and something made you happy, I said, remember to show emotion if you really feel it. So, I just got a recent letter from Tom Troll from Minnesota Partners with Twin Cities Public Television. It was a complimentary letter for reference, and he did recognize that me working with people while doing films was a strength, that you can pull out the best of them rather than just a normal interview where you get a plain thing. You want to get excitement and how they really feel and let them feel comfortable. So that's what's been working to get a real film footage and real character out of a person when you're filming them. But it takes a lot to find the location, the content of the film. See, I don't use a storyboard. Most filmmakers do. The storyboard, because I have ADHD, it works in my favor because those film reels will be in my brain rolling any time, and I know how to put them together. So that's I use that to my advantage, and it does work.
Yes. How long have you been making films?
I'd say professionally since 2006. Before that, it was trial and error. from, I'd say 2002, when we started having what's called the Shinab Jams at the Grand Casino Hinckley Amphitheater. I would just film them and then edit them and then put them together for people to watch. But more professionally, when I upgraded to all HD large equipment, Final Cut Pro Studio and stuff like that, I'd say since 2006. Right now, currently, I've done 39, maybe 41 documentary style or music videos or web page advertisement for like some of the boat launches on Lake Minnetonka. So I pretty much have dabbled in a few of them. Mostly the last 2 years has been documentaries for, luckily, TV, Twin Cities Public Television.
It's been great out here in San Francisco this week for the American Indian Film Institute's 38th Annual American Indian Film Festival. I have to say that it's one of my very favorite events of the year. This year, I'm just so happy to be out here for it. I just love running into old friends and making new ones, and it's great seeing someone from home. Rick, tell me what you were out here for.
The film is called The People of the Big Lake, is a film of the Mille Lacs-Band Ojibwe, kind of like the history. What happened was the Mille Lacs-Band DNR Department Historical Preservation Office, a person by Natalie Wias, they had purchased film footage from the 50s and 60s from a gentleman by the name of Sherman Holbert, and he was an entrepreneur. And the film footage showed him filming our band members and community doing cultural events like ricing, making canoes out of birch bark picking, maple syrup gathering, and other cultural things, even powwows and traditional dance and other dances. So the band didn't know that existed until about 2009 when they found out from a historian guy, and I can't remember his name, I wish I did. We were called and told that they were trying to split or selling the film to other organizations, but they wanted to give the Mille Lacs Band an opportunity to purchase it. So they sent me over to this guy's house and look at it, and sure enough, he was a historian guy. He showed me all this stuff, and he opened up a big vault, and he said, "Here's the 8mm reel film." So they asked me, the tribe asked me to convert it to digital to preserve it, because 8mm film will eventually deteriorate and possibly crack. So we did. But after I did that, after seeing about 23 hours of old film footage, it was phenomenal, because I just realized that there's a lot of people that don't even know that film existed. So I talked to Natalie Wias. I said, "You have enough film footage to do 3 one-hour documentaries." And they took that on and got the funding, and they had started looking for a filmmaker. And Twin Cities Public Television had sent me an email and asked me if I would partner with them and become the producer on the film. And within 3 seconds, I said yes. I didn't want to turn up an opportunity like that. And it was an honor. So we ended up making the film, and it was shown. The American Indian Film Institute screened it on November 4th in San Francisco at their event, and that's how we went out there to represent, and if they had questions, we had answers for them. And again, it was phenomenal to go to those type of film award shows. Even though it didn't win the award, it was still considered, and that's an honor. And
yes, and the elders you brought with you were just amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you were there, and it was it's fun. Everything with doing that stuff is just fun, and seeing other people's reaction and getting the comments is great. But the film, The People of Big Lake, is now showing on Twin Cities Public Television 5 times a year for the next 5 years, and then it shows on the internet probably forever, and so it can be looked up on the internet too. And it's really fun to do this. I keep saying the word fun. Why? Because it's really fun. So it's being shown at that film festival is an honor, because that's a really big Film Festival where there was a lot of stars there showing their films.
Well, isn't it great to be doing what you love? And yes, it is fun. So sometimes it doesn't even seem like work. It's just,
exactly.
Yeah, this is who you are, and this is how we met several years ago and became friends. And I've followed your work, and yeah, it's always great to know that you're there if I ever need someone to talk to about this work.
Yes, and vice versa. It's always great to meet you. It was great seeing you there. I just wish I could have stayed a little bit longer to see you again and capture a picture with you. That's what I was hoping to do, and then talk more about future stuff. But again, this is great that you're calling me to talk about this. I'm having a fun time.
Yes, definitely. What compelled you to make the film, and is there a message in it? It's very educational. I learned many things about ricing and birch bark basket making and things that I didn't even know until I saw the film. So
yes,
this is a gift.
It is. There is an important message, and while I have the opportunity to see the old film footage, obviously when I live up here, I see our band members and community members doing these cultural events, ricing, birch bark, pulling the birch bark down in the summer. Maple syruping. When I viewed the old film footage, I was thinking right away, they still do the same steps. So what a better way to do it is to put a film together in 54 minutes that shows the old ways they did it and how they currently do it. And then, again, how they did it in different categories and how they do it now. That way, down the road, for future generations, they'll be able to see how in the last 50, 60 years, this cultural and language has been handed down from generation to generation to generation, and the importance of it. But what we wanted to do is in the old film footage of the 50s and 60s, there were people in there like Steve Primo that was only 8 years old. Chuck Shingleby, he was like 6. And now they're, into their 50s, upper 50s, and we asked them to appear in the film to talk about their experience being in the film 50, 60 years ago. And so that's what made it fun. And Natalie Wias, of course, her relatives were in there, so we had people that had direct knowledge of the old film footage and what they did, and their memory of seeing that when they were younger now. So one of the things I wanted to make clear when I did the film as the producer, I was given the full authority to make sure it's done the way I thought appropriate, and I was given. I said, whatever we do, we want to make this the most positive experience. We don't want to talk about issues of treaty at this time. That's for a different film, or anything in any negative way. We wanted to make it only positive because that's what's needed. There's, in all honesty, and with certain things going on in reservations and in inner-city Twitties, not just reservations, but with the new culture with drugs and violence, I didn't want nothing negative in this most important message about cultural events or the teachings. I just wanted it to be positive, people smile, talk about it, and then in the future do a film about correcting certain things that are going on that are not so good. But so I feel we did an appropriate job and represented to also respect those people that were in the film that are no longer with us. They're up in heaven somewhere, and that we wanted to make sure we did a positive, powerful, accurate description of the film, and we feel we did the right job.
So where did you film it, and who appears in it?
I hope I don't forget people's names. Joy Shingleby, Michaela Schaff, Larry Smallwood, Mick, Natalie Wias, Steve Primo, Chuck Shingleby. Man, if I leave out a name, I'll feel bad. I'm sure I'll think of somebody else. They were the main people that I listened to because we interviewed a few people. We sent out a notice to see who would want to take part in this film, so we met with them many times. And as a filmmaker, I know it's important to not just meet with someone one time and then film them and quick get it done. I took my time, and along with Natalie, we as a support met with these people multiple times, let them see the old film footage, and then listen to their reaction, and then get the correct story. And then the Twin Cities Public Television sent out the film crew, and of course I then directed and made sure we picked up the certain parts. We filmed it mostly was up in the Mille Band reservation area by Lake Mille, and some of the film footage was done behind my house, and some was in homes and stuff, but so it was done up on the Mille Band reservation by the beautiful lake.
Okay. Did you experience any challenges making it?
None, because that's what's good though too. Because that's a good point. It's a very needed something needed to say, because when you hire a film producer or director and you have too many decision makers on it, you could have 5 decision makers and they're going to have 5 different opinions. One's going to say, "I want a little red bunny running by." One's going to say, "No, I like the white bunny," and one's going to say, "I like the little black bunny." Yeah. So let's just put in a black, red, and white bunny instead. So when you got someone, that's why Natalie Wias was a huge, important, because as an elder in a historic preservation office, she was kind of like what we call a shot caller. And because she trusted myself and Twin Cities Public Television so much, we just said, "Please let us do it what we think is appropriate." And she did. She was right there agreeing to it. We're lucky that she let us do it, because some people will have different thoughts of how to do it. It's best to not have too many decision makers in it. We've got a lot of positive compliments, nothing but positive compliments from elders and tribal members and community about it. That it was a positive film, and people could just say, "Wow, I didn't," because a lot of people say, "I didn't know that existed, that film. I didn't know that."
Well, you all represent the Mille Band of Ojibwe well, and the film was well received. How can my audience see it?
Oh, you can. It will come on, and everybody, because of the local cable stations, like Dish Network or whatever, or Comcast. It usually comes Twin Cities Public Television. I think in the cities it's channel 2 or 17, and then it broadcasts regionally and nationwide. So each TV station comes on, but it comes on like every 5 times a year for about 3 days in a row, for like 3 times in those days. So it comes on multiple times, or a person can look it up online under Twin Cities Public Television, and then you look up TV shows and you type in "The People of the Big Lake," and then it should show a box. And usually when you do type it in, you look on the internet, there's a little play button that will show the film on the internet. It'll be on the internet for quite a long time.
All right. Congratulations to you on this achievement. I'd like to know more about some of the other films you've produced in the past, and we'll have you back on again. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. Will you give my audience your website address? Are you on Facebook and other social media?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. My website for my business, I'm making a new one, upgrading it. But you can find me, Rick Anderson. It'll say, just type it in, Garrison, Minnesota, and you can find me on there. And if you're friendly, you can friend me.
Okay. Thank you so much for speaking with me this morning. Rick Anderson, President, CEO of Eagle Clan Productions from the Mille Band of Ojibwe.
Thank you, Martha, and I hope you feel better out there in California, and I really appreciate you calling me about this, and I hope you have a good day.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. This is the Martha Fast Horse Show, Public and Cultural Affairs program of this radio station. Thank you for being with us, and have a great week.